Hi, this is Mavis Staples, and you're listening to On the Flip Side with Java John on WFIT.
All right, friends, I have a very special treat for you this evening. I am joined by folk, soul, gospel legend, and Grammy Award winner, Miss Mavis Staples. Hello, Mavis. How are you this evening?
Oh, I'm feeling great. I'm glad to be with you. Thanks for having me.
It is surely a pleasure to have the opportunity to chat with you and discuss your music and history. Again, I thank you for taking the time for joining me.
Well, you need a lot of time because I got a lot of history.
Well, you know,
I go way back. I tell these kids today, they tell me, Miss Staples, I don't know. They used to say, I don't know you, but my mother knows you. And nowadays they say, I don't know you, but my grandmother knows you. And I let them know that, yeah, we're old school. But we're still here.
And they'll get to know you. They're getting to know you.
They're getting to, yes, indeed they are. Behind this new CD, since I've been hanging with Jeff Tweedy, I'm looking out in the audience. We did Lollapalooza.
Oh.
I looked out there and I saw all of these young kids, young faces, and they just looked at me like, where is this coming from?
Yeah.
And they were just in awe. And at first I said, I choose the wrong song. Because we started with, there's an a cappella song on the CD called Wonderful Savior.
Right.
And we started singing, I have found a wonderful Savior who is freely resting me forever. And they were looking, and I said, oh, my God, we chose the wrong song. But then they started clapping with it, They got with it. I said, oh, shucks. Well, all right. They like it. And so, and that was just a great. Even Jeff Tweedy came out and did a couple of songs with me on that.
Nice. Mavis, you mentioned two things, and I want to get back to the new CD that is "You Are Not Alone," produced by Jeff Tweedy.
Right.
But you mentioned the Lollapalooza, and I just find it very interesting the different types of festivals that you're playing across the board in the next coming months during the summer. You're going to be in Woodstock. At Levon Helm from the band at his Midnight Ramble,
right?
Which I've seen videos of this and heard audio of for this, and this is just an amazing thing that he puts on. I think once a month.
Yes.
He brings
I
friends.
Can't wait to get there.
Oh yeah, that's gonna. Maybe I'll take time and go up that time myself.
That'd be good. That would be good.
And after you're up in Woodstock. You're coming down to Manchester, Tennessee for actually what could be considered this generation's annual Woodstock is a festival called Bonnaroo.
Bonnaroo.
And I haven't been to the Bonnaroo yet, but I hear many wonderful things about it. And it is
great.
Just like hundreds of artists over 4 or 5 days in the middle of the woods in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
This is our second trip to Bonnaroo.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then you're over at the Essence Music Festival in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Later in July, you're back at the Newport Folk Festival.
Yes.
And wrapping up at the Hollywood Bowl in August.
Yes.
That's toward the end of the
with Keb Mo.
Well, with Keb Mo, the wonderful Keb Mo.
I tell you, I'm having such a wonderful life. It's just and back in the day, that folk festival.
Right.
They started it for us. We were singing strictly gospel.
Right.
And all of a sudden, these people called us to sing at a folk festival. and we hadn't really ever even heard any folk music. But when we did, we fell in love.
Mm-hmm.
Joan Baez and Dylan and Buffy St. Marie, it was so close to gospel to us.
Yes.
So we said, Pop said, well, we're all right. We're right at home.
Yeah.
Because these songs have such good meaning, such true stories and heartwarming stories.
Sure.
And I tell you, it was just the best thing. And from that point on, we started going to Downbeat Jazz. We were winning Downbeat Jazz Awards, up against Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross, And then they were calling us to these blues festivals, and I just had to stop my father. I said, Pops, why are these people calling us to sing on blues festivals? I said, we don't sing no blues. He said, Mavis, baby. He said, you listen to our music, listen to our records. He said, you will hear some of every kind of music in our music, throughout our music. And I tell you, it was years that my sisters, we singing gospel, and Pops was playing the blues on his guitar. and somebody, I said, Daddy, he finally told me, he said, well, he learned to play from Charlie Patton.
Right.
When Pops was down in Mississippi on Dockery's farm, actually, Howlin' Wolf was down there, too. And Howlin' Wolf, and years later, Howlin' Wolf right down the street from us, lived right down the street. But Pops, he was making 10 cents a day. And I couldn't believe it. I said, 10 cents a day? He said, that's what I made, 10 cents a day. And I took my dimes up to this hardware store, which he showed my sisters and I after we grew up down in Mississippi, right where the store was. The store wasn't still there, but he showed us that corner. He said the hardware store was right here. And he bought that, he put that little guitar in the layaway. And when he got it out, he started teaching himself to play in that style of Charlie Patton. And I said, well, Pop, that guitar has brought us a long way, I'm telling you. I think about it sometimes, you know, the way my father started us singing. Well, you know, Pops was singing with an all-male group.
Right.
And these guys wouldn't come to rehearsal. So Pops, he would come home, discuss it. About that third time he came home, he went straight to the closet, pulled out a little guitar he had bought at the pawn shop, and he called us children into the living room, sit us on the floor in a circle, and began giving us voices to sing that he and his sisters and brothers would sing down in Mississippi.
Ah.
Yeah, and we started singing. My Aunt Katie, one of Pop's sisters, there were 14 children in Pop's family.
Wow.
And 7 boys and 7 girls. And Katie lived with us, and she came through one night. She said, shucks, y'all sound pretty good. I believe I want y'all to sing at my church. And, Lord, we were so glad we're going to sing someplace other than on the living room floor. So we went to Aunt Katie's church that Sunday. We sang this song. The people clapped us back 3 times. And 3 times we had to sing that same song. And so Pop said, shucks, these people like us. We're going home and learn some more songs.
Yeah.
And that song, the very first song he taught us was the Circle Fiasco. Yes, indeed. And we've been going ever since. That was in the late 1949, 1950. We've been, and I think about it now, you know, here I am, still here, and at this time, as long as I've been singing, to win a Grammy back in February, I'm telling you, I was weak in my knees. I could not believe that I was winning this Grammy. You know, 60 years we've been singing.
In the business. Yeah.
And
now you got your Grammy.
You're not alone.
It's a beautiful thing.
That little Jeff Tweedy, he told me, he said, Mavis, I have this song in my head when we were first getting songs together, you know.
Yeah.
He said, I have this song in my head. I kept the title. I want to write it for you. It's called You're Not Alone.
Wow.
And he started telling me some of the meat of the song. I said, Tweety, my skin was moving on my bones, you know.
Yeah.
This goosebump.
Yeah.
I said, write it. You got to write it. And that song, actually, his 2 songs that he wrote were the last songs that we put down on the CD. And we started rehearsing. I watched him write Only the Lord Knows. This kid, I'm telling you, I have been so blessed. I've been with all these geniuses, you know, for producers.
Right.
And he was just writing, we're not alone. Only the Lord knows. I said, Tweety, that sounds like something that Pops wrote years ago. And I said, Pop, you saying, when I get feeling, hurting and reeling. I said, well, Pops wrote a song for Hank Aaron. When he hit that ball, that 755, Pops wrote, and Tweety was saying, what can you do when you can't trust anybody? And Pops was saying, which way did it go? And Tweety said, he jumped up, he said, wait a minute, you mean to tell me I'm writing a song that sounds like Pop's favorite something, Pop? He was so proud.
Oh, I bet.
He's crazy about Pop. But You're Not Alone, he got to messing with that, and he stopped. He was just on his guitar. He said, "Wait a minute, Mavis." He said, I'm gonna put this down. I'm gonna let you take the melody home. These are not the true lyrics." He said, "I'll have the true lyrics for you when you come in tomorrow.
Right.
But you can get familiar with the melody."
Sure.
I said, "Okay, that's cool." And lo and behold, I went in there the next day. This man had the most beautiful lyrics.
Mm.
I came to tears almost. I said, "Tweety, man, I'm going to take you and shake you." It was just the most beautiful song. You're Not Alone. And I said, "How did you come with these?" He said, "Mavis, I wrote the song for you." I said, "Okay, I'll take it." Yes, it's a beautiful. And I told him, I said, "Tweety, this song is for the world. The world need to hear. You know, we're living in trying times now.
Mm-hmm.
And people are losing their homes.
Mm-hmm.
They're losing their jobs. They need to hear a song. It's so comforting.
Sure.
You know, and it'll make you, if you're down and depressed and down and think that you just can't make it, it will make you get up. It'll give you a reason
Sure.
to get up, you know, and keep going. So I just applaud him. I'm so grateful to him. He told me, he said, "Mavis, I have we walked through the studio one day. He said, "Mavis, guess what I have on my iPod?" I said, "What?" He said, "I have all the Staples singers' music from the 50s and 60s. And he worked at a record shop.
Yeah.
And he said he had access to our music when he was a teenager.
Wow.
And he just loved our music. And I said, well, I am so grateful that the Lord kept you and kept me long enough for us to meet.
To get together.
And make this music.
Sure.
Yes, indeed.
Sure. I was telling you before how much I love this disc. You Are Not Alone, and there's just tracks on it when you started off with Don't Knock,
yeah.
and you go, you know, that feels like back in the day.
That's right.
You know,
that's right.
And you go into You Are Not Alone, which is a great song. Creep Along, Moses, The Last Train, as you mentioned, The Lord Only Knows, and then I get to a song called Wrote a Song for Everyone, and I'm going, man, I love that. I love that. That feels so good. That feels so familiar. What is that song? Oh, that's John Fogerty. I know that song.
John Fogerty, right.
But instantly on this record, it's your song.
It is.
You know?
It is.
It just made me completely forget that I knew that song.
Yes. It's us. And that feeling, it took me back to when we first started singing. It's the Staples. It's our sound.
Yeah.
And one of the songs, and I think that was Don't Knock. I told him, I said, Tweety, don't you think Rick should put a guitar solo in it? He said, Mavis, where have you been? He said, don't you remember? Because I told him the song would be a little longer. He said, don't you remember the Staples singers never sang past 2.5 to 3 minutes on the record?
Right.
You know, and I said, okay, I'm
That's
done.
Right.
You won't hear from me no more.
I dug in a little bit and I went back and listened to some Staples singer stuff that I haven't heard in years, and some that I don't remember. I don't remember hearing the cover of Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. I don't recall that.
Dock of the Bay.
That was beautiful.
Oh yeah, we did Dock of the Bay.
And going back and listening again to Long Walk to D.C. and Brand New Day, and one that I do remember hearing on the radio but hadn't thought about for years and years was Heavy Makes You Happy.
Yeah.
Shana
Boom Boom, yeah.
I remember that, and I love that song. But, you know, when I listen to the Staples singer songs, and of course, being a child of the 70s, the ones that I knew the most, of course, were the ones that everybody knew the most, I believe, were, you know, Respect Yourself, I'll Take You There, and Let's Do It Again.
Yes, indeed.
But, you know, later in my life, as I go back and I listen to Respect Yourself and I'll Take You There, you know, the songs don't mean what I thought they meant when I was a young boy.
I know exactly what you mean. See, that I'll Take You There.
Yeah.
The church people wanted to put us out of church.
Yeah.
It's the Staple singers are singing the devil's music.
Right.
And I would do so many interviews. I tell them the devil ain't got no music.
Right. There you go. Yeah.
All music is God's music, and you have to listen to our lyrics.
Right.
We're talking about taking you to heaven.
Exactly. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And every time, and I'll tell you what, I get in the car and I put on the oldies station once in a while, and when either one of those songs come up, it's just like, bam,
brand new.
It's a brand new
That's
day.
Right.
I'm up in my seat.
Yeah.
And it's happy. It's
yes,
happy.
Indeed.
It's joyous, and it's free.
And classic.
And classic. What I did not know was that apparently Pops was a close friend to the Reverend Martin Luther King.
Oh yes. Yeah, Pops. Pops. When we first met Dr. King, that Pops had been listening to him on the radio. Dr. King had a radio program.
Okay.
And Pops had been listening, and we happened to be in Montgomery, Alabama, on Sunday morning, and we didn't have to sing until that night. So Pops called my sisters and I to his room. He said, "Listen, y'all, this man Martin is here, Martin Luther King, and I would like to go to his 11 o'clock service. Do you all want to go?" And we said, "Yes, Dad, we want to go." So we all got in the car, went down to Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. We were ushered in and seated. Someone let Dr. King know that we were in the service, and he acknowledged us. He said, "We're glad to have Pop Staples and his daughters here this morning. We hope you enjoy the service." And after he would, service was out, he would stand at the door to shake the worshipers' hands as they filed out.
Sure.
And my sisters and I, we walked past, shook his hand, and Pop stood there and talked to him for a while. And he finally came on, and we get back to the hotel. He called us to his room again. He said, "Listen, you all." He said, "This man," he said, "I like his message. I really like his message. And I think that if he can preach it, we can sing it." And we began writing freedom songs. March up freedom's highway. Why am I treated so bad? When will we be paid for the work we've done? And Pops and Dr. King became good friends. We would sing before Dr. King would speak. And he would always he called Pop Stape. He always say, "Now, Stape, you're going to sing my song tonight, right?" And Pop said, "Oh, yeah, doctor. We're going to sing your song." And his song was, "Why Am I Treated So Bad?" That was his favorite. And we would sing, "Why Am I Treated So Bad?" But he would always talk to Daddy. He wouldn't take no time with us girls. He'd just say, "How you girls doing today?" But I tell you, has been such an honor, such a plus in my life to have stood by this man, to shake his hand, to be that close to this great man.
Sure.
I tell you, I just, it's amazing, and to think that from where we came from on that living room floor.
Yep.
And to be able to march with and meet Dr. King and sing songs that Congressman John Lewis, he said our songs were the soundtrack of the movement. And he said, "Mavis, you all kept us inspired and kept us motivated by singing your songs, kept us marching." And it's just such an honor.
So as an integral part in the civil rights movement and in the soundtrack of the civil rights movement, and as an American, how about our president, huh?
Oh, that guy. He's the best.
I agree.
He is the best. And when he got when he won that night,
yeah,
I walked around my house. I talked to Pops. I talked to Dr. King.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody would have thought I was crazy. I talked out loud.
I hear you.
I must have cried a bucket of tears. I said, "Daddy, Dr. King, it's all right. We made it." Dr. King, that's a big part of his dream, has come to pass. And if I could just see my father, I could just see his gleaming eyes.
Yeah.
Just grinning. And he had a laugh when he got tickled. I can't do it because I got a cold. But he'd go up in this high pitch, like a falsetto. And I could just hear Pops laughing and rejoicing. And then I told my sister, I said, This guy is easy on the eyes, too. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Yeah. We had the pleasure of seeing him several times when he came to town early on, and it was truly an honor to be in the room with the man.
Yes, indeed.
Speaking of being in the room with the man, a couple months back, I remember watching on TV the Kennedy Center honors, and apparently you had performed in tribute to Paul McCartney,
right,
at this Kennedy Center honors.
Let it be
with Mr. President in the audience as well.
Yes, President and First Lady were there, and that was beautiful.
And James Taylor sang too, right?
Yes, James Taylor.
And Steven Tyler.
Oh, that guy.
Was that wild?
That's a crazy guy. I told him, he come running up to me, Mavis, Mavis, I think my lips are bigger than yours. I said, you don't have to think it. You just look in the mirror.
He's too much.
You got me beat.
He is too much.
He's a great guy. He's funny, comical.
And I was up in the air about, okay, well, when he sings that Beatles medley that he's going to do, is he going to be able to, I've heard him sing Beatles songs before and loved it, but is he going to be able to do that one? And it was a beautiful way to end the performance.
It was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. We had a good time that night.
Well, I want to remind folks that if they were to go on their internet and look up www.mavisstaples.com, they could find out everything that they wanted to find out about Mavis, her new CD, You Are Not Alone. You could find out about tour dates. If I'm not mistaken, can they see video on there?
They can see video, and they can go to my Facebook and see video, too.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and put something on my Facebook.
Yeah.
Everybody out of Florida, y'all come on and send me some nice messages.
Sure.
And but yes, they can see video of Jeff Tweedy and I singing Wrote a Song and You're Not Alone. And they can see Staples Singers videos. We're all over the place.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, Mavis, I want to tell you that it has truly been an honor and a lot of fun to talk to you today.
I've enjoyed talking to you.
I really hope we can do it again sometime.
You have to stop me sometime.
Well, see, that's what you said earlier about, you could go on and on and on.
Yeah.
And I could be prepared to do that sometime if you want. It would be nice sometime to put together like a retrospective program and just do a whole thing. And I'd be all about that.
Yes, indeed.
Cool. All righty then. Mavis Staples, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Everybody, I love y'all down there in that beautiful weather.
Oh, yeah. How cool was that? Thank you so much, Mavis Staples. That was very fun. I hope you folks enjoyed listening to that as much as I enjoyed chatting with Miss Mavis Staples. I do apologize to Mavis that I didn't get to make it to Jacksonville to see her in concert last week, so I hope and pray that she comes to Florida again sometime in the near future so we do get a chance to see her. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. MavisStaples.com. You can check that out. All right, let me mention this one more time.